Hey guys, thanks for checking in. Now the past two postings to the website ourcfmattershawaii.com have mentioned the CFTR gene. CFTR, what does it stand for? Well, it's an acronym, of course. I will tell you what it stands for. CFTR stands for Cystic Fibrosis Transmembrane Conductance Regulator. Now CFTR is indeed the primary cause of cystic fibrosis. To allow a better understanding of this important route to cystic fibrosis, today's video and posting to ourcfmattershawaii.com focuses on this CF gene. Now the CFTR gene was identified by scientists not too long ago. It was identified in 1989. Now everyone has two copies of this gene, one from each parent. Now if a child inherits two faulty CFTR genes, one from each parent, that child will have cystic fibrosis. But if they inherit one healthy copy of the CFTR gene from one parent and one unhealthy copy of the CFTR gene from the other parent, that child will not have cystic fibrosis. That's because they'll have enough normal copies of this gene to be healthy. That's a good thing. Now, to go into further detail about CFTR, it's part of a family of genes that regulates the energy transfer, which enables a cell to open and close its ion channels. Now, the CFTR gene produces the CFTR protein. That makes sense. This protein regulates the chloride ion content of certain cells in the body. When chloride ions are not able to leave the cells properly, as is the case with CF patients, water is retained in our cells. And as a result, some fluids, including mucus, are thicker than they should be, which means that the mucus is then more difficult to get out of the body. Now, a functioning CFTR gene is critical to normal human development, and mutations to the gene are life-threatening in most cases because they compromise the function of the pancreas, the gastrointestinal tract, and respiratory systems. When the respiratory system is compromised, mucus buildup in the lungs results in infections. These infections lead to hospitalizations, to IV treatments, and all of that fun stuff. Now, a dysfunctional pancreas and gastrointestinal tract can result in the likely destruction of the pancreatic function, which could lead to CF-related diabetes and the lack of proper absorption of nutrients. Lack of proper absorption of nutrients results in this, and also leads to the failure to thrive in infants, which is one trait that parents realize in their children, which leads them to identify the thought that CF may be a part of their child. That's all I have for today with regard to the CFTR gene. But check in next week. Recently, it was released that an early study of a CF medication formulation, CTP656, shows superior effects when compared to the existing CF medication Kalydeco. Now, it's important to know that the CTP656 formulation is only in its first clinical trial phase. We need 3 clinical trial phases for a medication to be considered successful. So this is just the first phase. So while it's still early, it's exciting to think that it's possible we may have in the future several medications to choose from that can battle the inherent difficulties of the cystic fibrosis genes. But that's for next week, so check back then. That's all I have for today. Until next week, see ya.